Hello everyone, my name is Marie and welcome to my gaming corner, and welcome to my Let's Play of Trails in the Sky. Now, you might remember that I started a Let's Play of this about 2 years back. Well, due to technical difficulties that resulted in moving computers, I lost pretty much all of the footage from it. So I decided to private it and start anew with this Let's Play of Trails in the Sky. This is going to be a 100% run, or to the best of my ability 100% run. I am a really big fan of this game. It's very good. I love its writing, I love its music, I love its combat. So, yeah, Trails in the Sky, very good game. It's getting a remake later this year, which is one of the big reasons why I decided to do this. But, what do you say we not dilly-dally anymore? Let's get started with normal. Average difficulty for those wanting a little challenge. Mind you, by the way, this game doesn't have voice acting, so I will be doing voices for every character. If you do not like them, feel free to tell me in the comments. I'm probably not going to change them, but I still look forward to hearing your feedback. Although, yeah, so if I'm not, like, making any original commentary throughout certain scenes, just know I'm just focused on trying to voice the characters. Anyway, let's go! Daddy's really late. I even got a message from the guild saying he'd be home today, too. The guild? Ooh, I wonder what that could be. And Shara's gone traveling around the kingdom on some kind of training. I'm so bored. Maybe I'll just practice with my staff a bit more before dinner.
Hey, I'm home.
Daddy!
Sorry to have kept you waiting, Estelle. Did you take good care of the house while I was away?
Of course I did. Did you run into any trouble, Daddy? You didn't get hurt biting the bad monsters, did you? Biting the bad monsters? Fighting the bad monsters.
Nope, I'm as fit as a fiddle. That reminds me, though, I brought you a present.
Really? What kind of present? A new fishing pole? Sneakers? Something for my training?
Maybe I raised you wrong, Estelle. Ah, so you wind up with a tomboy, and you're like, maybe I raised her wrong. That's a little mean of you, Cassius. Aren't little girls supposed to like clothes and jewelry? Yeah, if you're stereotyping. What are you, Cassius? Some kind of sexist?
I like pretty clothes, but they just get dirty. And jewelry breaks when you go play outside with it on. By the way, that was a joke. Anyway, Daddy, what's with the big blanket? Is that my present?
Oh, you're a sharp one. Now, why don't you come have a look?
What?
Well, here you are. Quite a handsome boy, don't you think?
What? Why is my present a boy?
Don't make such a fuss or you'll wake him up.
Wake him up? You mean he's still alive? Looks kind of dead if you ask me.
I've treated his wounds, so he should be in stable condition. In the meantime, however, we'll need to let him rest. I'll put him to bed, so if you wouldn't mind heating a kettle of water on the stove, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. He sure sleeps soundly. And he almost looks the same age as me. This is the first time I've ever seen black hair like that, too.
He certainly does have a nice head of dark hair, and a pair of amber eyes to go with it.
That's nice and all, but how about you come clean and fess up?
Fess up?
Yeah, who is this kid anyway? And why is he hurt? Why did you bring him to our house? Is he an illegitimate child or something? Did you betray Mommy?
Why are you asking your father if this is an illegitimate child? I mean, fair, but where have you been picking up these kinds of words? No doubt from Scheherazade, I assume.
Yep, that's right.
For heaven's sake, that girl is going to get me into trouble one of these days with all her nonsense. Ah, Scheherazade. The little-known cousin of Charizard. Actually, I just met this boy while I was out on business. And I don't even know his name.
You mean bracer business?
Something like that.
Oh.
Oh, wrong voice. Oh, look. I accidentally went into the Estelle voice with that.
Huh?
He's waking up.
Wow, his eyes really are the color of amber. Where am I?
So you're awake now, are you? Welcome to my humble home. You'll be safe here, so please just try to rest.
What are you trying to pull? Huh? You must be out of your mind. Why? Why didn't you just leave me there to die?
Why? Now that's a question I don't know how to answer. How did you two meet? That's a good question. Does things just worked out that way work for you?
Don't toy with me, Cassius Bright. Do you have any idea what you're getting yourself involved in? Hey! You're sure shouting a lot for someone who's supposed to be hurt. Running your mouth like that is just gonna make it take longer for your body to heal. And just who are you supposed to be? I'm Estelle. Estelle Bright.
She's my daughter. Don't you remember me telling you that I have a daughter about your age?
Now that you mention it. Wait a minute. Don't try and change the sub... Ow! Quit yelling! Alright already. Fun fact. In the remake, she's not jumping on the bed. She drop kicks Joshua.
I can't wait to get there.
But you jumping on me like that isn't gonna make me heal any faster either. I don't hear you yelling again, do I? Look, jumping on me like that is just gonna make things worse. Do I hear yelling? Never mind. Just forget it.
As a word of advice, it would be wise not to argue with Estelle while you're in this house. Even I wouldn't stand a chance if I made her mad enough.
Yeah, I can see that. By the way, aren't you forgetting something? Huh? Your name. You know, that thing that people call you? I told you mine already, so don't you think it would be unfair and impolite not to tell me yours?
It seems like the logical thing to do if you ask me. Trying to hide it now would only serve to your detriment.
Fine. My name is... Protagonist select screen?
No. Because there's only one protagonist. That said, I'm gonna shut up for the opening and let you guys watch it. What an opening. Regardless, though, it's time for another cutscene. There's going to be a lot of cutscenes in this episode, I hope you know. Just cooking an egg.
It's so bright in here.
That's your last name.
I slept like a rock.
How exactly do rocks sleep, Estelle?
That must mean it's Dad's turn to cook this morning. I'm more tired than I thought. I wonder if that means Joshua's still in bed. Guess that's a no. Well, I guess I'd better get myself ready then, too. Nice, Joshua! Bravo!
Good morning, Estelle. I hope I didn't wake you.
Nah, I was already up when I heard you start to play. I can't believe how awake you are, though. Even the roosters still have bags under their eyes. Not that I mind, what with that siren song of yours gently lulling this beautiful woman from her slumber.
What do you mean, woman? We're the same age and I'm hardly a man.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. How wrong you are, Joshua. We may be the same age, but I am clearly the woman of the house. And that makes you something like my loyal follower, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, how fortunate for you.
You could at least try and sound a tiny bit sincere. It really is a nice tune, though. Cheerful yet somehow wistful. I like your other songs too, of course, but this one's my favorite. What's it called again?
The Whereabouts of Light, or Hoshino Arika. Or not Arika. Hoshino Arika in Japan, which could otherwise be translated to The Whereabouts of the Stars.
That's right, The Whereabouts of the Light. Or not the light. English. I wish I could play the harmonica like you, Joshua. Sadly, it's a lot harder than it looks.
Compared to what it takes to use a staff, I think the harmonica is much easier. It's really just a matter of concentration.
You're probably right. I guess my problem is just that if I don't do something that uses my whole body, I start to feel drowsy.
That's concerning.
Okay, playing the harmonica is fine and all, but how about getting some exercise too? All your hobbies are sitting around kind of stuff, like reading and music. No girl is gonna be impressed with just that.
Well, excuse me for being so unpopular with the ladies. Although I feel like I should be the one lecturing you about your hobbies. I mean, what kind of boy wants a girl who loves fishing, collecting bugs, and has a fetish for sports shoes?
That's enough talk about hobbies for now. And for your information, I graduated from bug collecting a long time ago.
Really? I'll believe that when I stop finding beetles in the hallway. Beetles. Hey, Estelle, Joshua. I phrased that weird.
Morning, Dad!
Good morning, Dad. Is breakfast ready? It's ready and waiting. Why don't the both of you hurry on down before it gets cold?
Okay.
I'm on my way.
Thanks for the grub, Dad. Boy, am I stuffed.
Are you eating or inhaling, Estelle?
Like people say, kids who eat and sleep a lot grow a lot.
Well, make sure you get enough to eat, but don't forget to pour that energy into your work, too. That reminds me, you two are finishing up your training at the guild today, aren't you? That's right. It'll be a review of everything we've learned up to this point.
And once we're finished, we'll be bracers, just like you, Dad. That means I'm not gonna let you treat me like a kid anymore, either.
You still lack understanding, Estelle. You can only become a junior bracer in the beginning. Or in other words, a trainee. If you want to be treated like an adult, then you should work extra hard in your training to become a full-fledged bracer.
Well, I'm not afraid of a little hard work. Just you watch and see what I'm capable of, Dad. I'll be so successful that it won't be long before I pass you, too.
That's the spirit. Let's see what you're made of then, shall we? Let's not start a rivalry here, you two. And Estelle, keep your focus on the task at hand. We have a test later on today, remember?
Huh? Wait, what test?
Please tell me that you didn't forget about the test, Estelle. You know, the one that checks whether or not we've mastered the skills we've been learning in training? Don't you remember Shara saying that if we failed, we'd be stuck with a ton of extra homework?
Crap! Totally forgot. Now that you mention it, I guess I kind of remember her saying something like that. Don't sweat it. I'm sure we'll manage somehow or other.
I honestly don't know how you've survived this long, Estelle. Your brain is like a sieve. Papa is sad. How could any child of mine end up with such a careless, over-optimistic personality?
Huh, you're the one that raised me, so I definitely got it from you.
I swear, the two of you act so much alike, but whatever. We should probably head over to the guild soon, Estelle. Shara's gonna be waiting there for us.
Sounds like a plan. You know how crazy scary she gets when someone keeps her waiting. Oh, before I forget, it's my turn to cook dinner tonight. Is there anything in particular you'd like to eat, Dad? Any requests?
Something I'd like to eat, huh? How about Rouen-style scalloped fish and a balsamic vinegar sauce?
What's that?
I think that's a little more than Estelle's cooking skills can handle. Or her stomachs, for that matter. You're right, I just wanted to see what kind of reaction I could get. I'll just have the usual fried fish and omelet. No need for anything fancy, but do try to make something edible.
How rude. But I can't actually say that he's wrong.
Actually, I do have one favor to ask before you head out. I'd like you to pick me up a copy of the Liberal News from the General Goods Store. They're supposed to be getting the latest edition in today.
Got it. One copy of the Liberal News from the General Goods Store.
Received 500 Mira. If there's any money left over, you can have it as your allowance. However, that means no wasteful spending.
All right. Thanks, Dad.
Okay, we're heading out now. See you later, Dad. Work hard and give Sherazard my regards. Alright, now that we have gone over the general intro of the game, or the first cutscene for that matter, let's go over our main characters. To start with, we have Estelle Bright, voiced by Stephanie Shea, who you may know as voicing Orihime Inoue, Sailor Moon, Hinata Hyuga, and many more. Estelle is a optimistic, bubbly girl who uses a staff in combat. She's, in general, not the brightest bulb in the box, but she makes up for it with heart and determination. She's our main protagonist, so you better get used to her. Next, we have Joshua Bright, the adoptive son of Cassius Bright, voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, sorry about the mix-up with that name, who you may know as Ichigo Kurosaki, Yuna Rukami, Dante from Devil May Cry, Nero from Devil May Cry, and many more! He is basically the yin to Estelle's yang. He is calm, collected. Where Estelle rushes in before she thinks, Joshua observes every situation carefully. He is very good at combat, very strong in a mysterious kind of way that links to his past, which he has not told Estelle about. Those are our two main characters. So, what do you guys say we start heading to the main city of Roland? This is the Bright household, you know. And you may notice, the game's world is 3D modeled, but the characters are sprites. This game was made in 2004 for the Windows PC by Nihon Falcom, a Japanese company that you can classify as indie if you really want to, because they're not really AAA. They're more AA, but even then, it's still more indie than anything. This game was relatively successful and spawned an entire game series, which is currently 13 games and counting, with a remake of this one coming out later this year. Anyway, let's observe this poll. There's a standing log for staff practice. Elise Highway. It looks like we made good time. Not too early or too late either.
We just barely graduated from Sunday school. I never dreamed we'd have to study so hard to become bracers.
Well, you're in luck. Today is our last day of training. Truth be told, though, you're the one who signed up to be a bracer in the first place, so I don't know why you'd expect to get away with any less effort.
Oh yeah, I guess I did. Alright then, let's get to it and make it through this last hazing from Shara.
You look ready to me. Let's go meet with Shara at the Bracer Guild over there, then. Welcome to the first town of many in this game. Welcome to Roland, the hometown of Estelle and Joshua, and the area where we will be spending the entirety of the prologue. Trails towns are known for their NPCs, and the Trails games in general are known for their NPCs. Generally, NPC dialogue updates after every story event that it happens within the town, so let's get started by talking to this NPC.
Oh, Estelle and Joshua.
Good morning, Uni.
Aren't Luke and Pat with you today? They were, but just a minute ago. The two of them suddenly took off and went somewhere.
Roland Chapel. Welcome to the first of the many Septian churches we will visit. The Septian Church is the widest reaching religion in the world, in the continent of Zemuria, which is where the entirety of the Trail series takes place. However, we are not going over that yet.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. My, if it isn't Estelle and Joshua. Good morning. Where are the two of you off to this morning? It must be tough waking up so early. It has been a while since I saw the both of you. I'm impressed to see you visiting the chapel so early in the morning.
Good morning, Father Divine.
Good morning. You were habitually late and played hooky more than a few times during your Sunday school days, Estelle. So have you changed your attitude on life since you graduated?
A bit, I guess.
It looks like there is a little time before morning mass begins, so I bet I give you both a special sermon.
No thanks.
Why am I getting thrown into the mix here? You'll notice, Joshua's very sassy. That's kind of his personality for a while. Anyway, that is the first of many NPCs that we've talked to in the shops and church. There's Luke and Pat. They're running around talking about something. I will not be going over that yet.
Good morning, Mr. Renown.
Hello there, Estelle and Joshua. You're up rather early today. Did you come to buy a new pair of shoes?
Now that you mention it, are there any new ones in stock? You know, like the newest Stragas.
Unbelievable. You've actually already forgotten why we came in here to begin with. We're not here to shop. We're supposed to be buying a copy of the Liberal News for Dad, right?
Of course.
You've always been a big collector of those shoes, haven't you, Estelle? I'm afraid that the new Stragas aren't out yet. If you're after the latest issue of the Liberal News, though, I should have them in around noon.
Noon, huh? That's right in the middle of our training at the guild house.
We'll stop by again after our training is over. Sure, I'll be waiting for you. There is other dialogue that we could talk to him about, but it's not really important. Top of the morning to you, kids.
Good morning, Mr. Elgar. Good morning, sir.
Well, you're up rather early, aren't you? Correct me if I'm wrong, but today is your last day of training, isn't it? I seem to remember you saying something about it the last time I had you run the store.
Yes, that's right.
I see. Well, I'm sure you'll do just fine, Joshua. Now, Estelle, on the other hand, I've got good reason to worry. She's always been a bit scatterbrained ever since she was a child. Probably all the knocks she took to the head while playing with the boys.
Really? So I guess that scatterbrain trait isn't something new, huh? I'll give you a head injury if you don't shut up. And don't call me scatterbrained!
Okay, you two, let's not fight now. And shouldn't you be getting over to the guild?
Yes, we should. Hi, Mom. I'm just on my way over to the forest of Mistwald to the south of here for work. There was a merchant from Bose who came by here to buy lumber. I need to get enough ready for the order I received. Let's go into the Bracer Guild for our first and last day of training that we see. There you two are. Good morning, Estelle. Good morning, Joshua. Morning, Ina. Good morning. Is Shara here today? Yes, she's waiting for you upstairs. Once you finish today's training, you'll be officially recognized as members of the Bracer Guild. Good luck to the both of you. Thanks! We'll do our best. I paraphrased by accident. The Star and the Hanged Man, the Hermit and the Magician, and last of all, inversion through the Wheel of Fortune. This is a difficult combination. How should I interpret this? Good morning, Shara! Also, if you notice them pop in, it's because the game's in 16:9 and it was not meant to be. Well, if it isn't Estelle and Joshua. This is a rare occasion for the both of you to show up so early. Since it's my last day of training, I figured, why not? I'm ready to get this show on the road and become a bracer myself. I'll give you the credit for your enthusiasm, but I'm gonna work you hard today in every way that I can think of to make sure that high spirit of attitude of yours holds up. Blech. I hope you're ready. I can feel that enthusiasm dropping already. Quiet, you! Every time I teach you something, you somehow manage to forget it. This training is my way of trying to keep some of that information in your head instead of letting it dribble slowly out your ears like it usually does. Joshua, Shara's picking on me. Don't worry, Shara. While Estelle may hate studying and rarely ever does her homework, acts rashly, is overly naive, and has a tendency to stick her nose into everything, her instincts are sharp, so I'm sure she'll pick up on how to use an orbment with some practice. Eventually. Probably. I guess there's not much I can do now except hope for the best. Hold on a sec, Joshua. Somehow I get the feeling that you weren't standing up for me. Well, that's odd. I'm positive I described all your best traits accurately. Whatever. By the way, Shara, what were you trying to predict with your tarot cards? Your face was really intent. Oh, this? I was just trying to get a vague reading about what might happen in the near future. Unfortunately, I don't seem to have been in the right mindset to interpret the cards correctly. You couldn't read the cards? Now that's surprising to hear. Actually, the more profound the meaning of the cards, the more difficult they become to interpret. But that's not important now. I think it's time we start your final training. I'll give you a brief rundown of all the information we've covered in your previous training. This is the minimum level of knowledge that bracers should have in order to function effectively. And Estelle, make sure you pay especially close attention to what I'm going to say. Yeah. What would you like to know about?
About orbments.
Orbments are mechanical devices which operate by using what is known as orbal energy. A variety of effects can be produced depending on their structure and the type of quartz or processed septium installed. Although it's only been about 50 years since their invention, these devices play an integral role in all facets of life, from lights, heaters, and everyday other appliances, to weapons, magic, and even airships. In connection, this technological reform is commonly known as the Orbal Revolution. About bracers. Bracers are investigative and combat specialists who work to protect civilians and maintain the stability of their respective regions. They aid the community in various ways such as exterminating monsters, preventing crimes, finding lost items, and escorting people and goods. The Bracer Guild, which has established branches across the continent, manages the affairs of the Bracers in each region.
Bracers are basically RPG protagonists for hire. That's what you need to know about them.
The Kingdom of Liberl, in which we live, sits on the western half of the Zemirian continent, and it bounds with nature and deep-rooted traditions. Liberl is proud to be one of the leading productions of Septium on the continent, and it is known for its high-level technology used to develop orbments. Orbment technology has also been a key pillar of support for Liberl in protecting its independence as it has contended with neighboring nations. 10 years ago, when Liberl was invaded by the Erebonian Empire, it was the use of the orb-powered airships that saved the kingdom from defeat. Consequently, even now our relationship with the Empire is somewhat sensitive, but thanks to the Queen's political finesse, Liberl enjoys peace. That's all. Let's see, since we've got a mountain of stuff to do today, I'll let you off the hook this time with a condensed review. I'm going to speed things up now and move on to the practical portion of your training. Shara? How's today's practical training any different from the training we've done before? Since it's practical, that means you'll be experiencing things firsthand. Therefore, I'm going to have the both of you run through everything as if this were a real Bracer job. So what you're saying is, there won't be any studying at a desk involved? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. This time you'll have to go out and make a physical effort to accomplish your task. I'll make sure to have you work up a sweat, so I hope you're ready. Yes, that's seriously just what the doctor ordered. I didn't know what I was going to do if I had to sit another day with my tush parked behind a desk. I guess I got all worried for nothing.
Well, suddenly you're all bright and cheerful, Estelle.
Let's just hope that smile on your face lasts until the end of today's training. Okay, let's get cracking on your first objective, shall we? Let's have at it! Your first objective will be to confirm the details of the job you will be performing. But before that, there is something that we need to give the both of you. Ina, are they ready? Yes, they are. Alright, you two, go get one each for yourselves. These are very important, so make sure not to lose them. Receive a Bracer notebook. Bracer notebooks serve as the official way to record the status of your current jobs. Also, anything you may hear or anything you may find and where. These kinds of trivial things can often become clues. No matter how insignificant something may seem, always write it down. Understood. Crap, this sounds like it's going to be a pain. Oh. Please tell me that it was my ears playing tricks on me, because I swear I only got one response. I'm sure there were two. Keeping an accurate account of events is an important duty for all Bracers. So get with the program and stop trying to make this out to be more than it really is, Estelle. Okay, I got it. Make sure you do. Alright then, let's begin. Look over by the door. You can see that there's a bulletin board standing there. First, I want you to go and check the job description posted there. When the bulletin board is approached, an exclamation mark will appear. Pressing the OK button will display the job list. By selecting the job names on the list, you can view their details. Training, retrieval. This training will involve searching the sewers beneath Roland and bringing back the contents of a chest. See Sherazard for details. Details of the job confirmed on the bulletin board and other important events will automatically be recorded in the Bracer Notebook. The Bracer Notebook can be easily found by clicking on the Books tab of the Items menu. It can also be accessed by configuring a Bracer Notebook shortcut button on the Configuration menu. Very good. It looks like you were able to see what was posted without any trouble. Checking the bulletin board is one of the most basic functions a Bracer performs on their job. Checking regularly to see whether or not there are any urgent tasks which need immediate attention is also an important duty for Bracers. Man, all this talk about duty is starting to cramp my style. Sure, there are a lot of rules to follow, but there's an equal level of responsibility in the jobs themselves. I think being a Bracer calls for much more than just someone with a half-hearted attitude. I guess you're right. I'll just have to be more motivated. That's a typo, but is that so? Had a change of heart, have you? You betcha. Well, before all that motivation sneaks off somewhere, let's get to work on your next task. What will we be doing this time? We'll be heading across the street to Mr. Melder's Orbital Factory and learning about how to use its services. He has graciously taken time out of his work schedule to explain things, so make sure to be on your best behavior. Okay. Here's where you will learn how to use an Orbital Factory's services. At an Orbital Factory, you can modify your orbments and synthesize support quartz in order to use Orbital Arts. Arts have a wide range of effects, and if mastered, can be extremely helpful. The bracer business is a pretty risky occupation, so the guild has had a long-standing relationship with these Orbital Factories. Anyway, this is about as much as I can explain. I'll leave the technical details to the expert. So Mr. Melders, if you wouldn't mind taking over from here.
No problem. Leave everything to me. So what is it that you would like to know about?
Orbments.
Orbments are mechanical devices which exhibit an array of effects through the installation of various types of quartz. By definition, that means lights, airship engines, and so on are types of orbments. However, the ones we will be discussing today are battle orbments, which enhance the user's physical abilities and make it possible to use magic. Since each orbment is adjusted to match the owner's personal aptitude, the structures for these devices also differ for each owner. Simply put, the shapes of the fixed elemental slots and lines which connect them vary. At any rate, that's the layman's explanation. In order to install quartz, you must first open a slot. By default, the central slot is open, but the other slots must be opened at an Orbital Factory like this. It'll take a fair amount of Sepith, too. EP, which is needed for magic, will also see a max increase according to the number of open slots. I recommend opening them all as soon as possible. So what is it you would like to know about? Orbital Arts. Simply put, Orbital Arts are magic which can be discharged exclusively through the use of battle orbments. In other words, a number of peculiar effects can be produced by using orbital energy stored within these mechanical devices. Since Orbital Arts can be a mouthful, they are almost universally referred to as arts. Probably ought to have been called that from the get-go. There are several types of arts, but in order to be able to use them, their corresponding quartz must first be synthesized at an Orbital Factory. Orbments are also set up so that once a particular quartz is installed into a slot, the owner will be able to use those arts. The type of arts one can use also changes depending on the elemental value and the combination of installed quartz. Basically, if you want to use water arts, all you have to do is install quartz with a water elemental value. In reality, orbments are much more complex than what I have described, but I think this information should suffice for now. Sepith. Sepith are fragments of septium, which are dropped by monsters. They are divided into 7 types: earth, water, fire, wind, time, space, and mirage. Sepith can be exchanged for Mira almost anywhere, but at the Orbital Factory it can also be used to synthesize quartz and open orbment slots in which to install the synthesized quartz. And we're going to learn about quartz now. Quartz are circuits made from Sepith. Quartz have a vast number of effects and raise the owner's abilities, while simultaneously making it possible for them to use arts. However, you will not be able to harness any of these effects until the quartz has been installed into a slot. However, there are also fixed slots in which only a certain type of elemental quartz can be installed. This being the case, when you synthesize a new quartz, be sure to check out your orbment and decide where you will be installing it ahead of time.
It looks like Mr. Melders has answered all your questions. If there's nothing else, let's have both of you try and use the services here. For that, you're going to need some Sepith. With that amount, you two should be able to synthesize a few quartz. Now I want you to begin by first making an elemental quartz that will work with each of your particular orbments. In your case, Estelle, any elemental quartz is okay, but for you, Joshua, it has to be a time elemental quartz. Normally at a shop, you would be able to exchange Sepith for Mira, but for this training, you will not be able to use this service. Upon approaching a counter, a talk mark will appear. Pressing the OK button will display a list of options, like modify or trade to use the Orbital Factory services. Okay.
Oh, so you finished installing your quartz, have you? Since you have both recovery and attack arts set up, it appears that you don't need any more instruction from me about how to do this task. If you balance your arts out between each other like you've done here, it should make dealing with monsters much easier. Additionally, your bracer notebooks will contain information about which quartz allow you to use which arts. If you'd like to use more powerful arts, check out the arts and quartz charts in your bracer notebooks and find something that works for you. Alright, our training here is almost finished. Last of all, I'm going to have fun if you open a new slot in your ordnance. The more slots you have available to you, the broader range of choices you'll have. Since EP, which is consumed by using arts, can have its max value increased by opening up slots, it would be a good idea to open them all early on. Now I want you to use this Sepith and open a slot on each of your ordnance. Go ahead and decide which slots you're going to open. We're gonna do agility. Yeah. Good work on opening up a slot, Joshua. Since your central slot is limited to a certain elemental, it would be best to increase your orbit's number of open slots early on. This concludes your training here at the Orbital Factory. Now it's time to move on to what you've both been waiting for, the qualification test. Pardon? Did you just say test? You can't honestly tell me that you forgot about the test. Again, can you? Didn't I remind you just this morning?
Now that you mention it, I vaguely remember some sort of talk along those lines at the breakfast table.
Sometimes I fear for the future of the Bracer Guild. And humanity. Oh well, no sense in worrying about that now. Let's head over to the testing area.
You mean, like, now? I don't know if I'm ready for...
How about a little less yapping and a little more walking?
Joshua, help me!
Mr. Melders, ready? Thank you for all your help. Don't mention it. Good luck with that test of yours. We'll be rooting for you.
I'm going to remember that you left me high and dry like this, Joshua!
All your training has finally come down to this. Your qualification test will begin here. I expect to see you both use what you've learned up to this point. Understood. What's wrong, Estelle?
Shara.
What now?
I was kind of wondering, but is there not going to be a paper test or something?
Did Cassius drop you on your head as a child or something? You just read what it said on the bulletin board not that long ago, right?
Yeah, and?
And I even made you jot down what you read in your bracer notebooks. Unless you forgot that too. I'm pretty sure the job listing mentioned searching for and retrieving an item from the sewers. Ringing any bells yet?
What a relief! O divine Adios, I give thanks to thee for thy infinite grace in bestowing upon us such wonderful gifts as sewers.
So what you're really saying is you thought it was a paper test. No wonder you were acting all crazy back at the Orbital Factory.
Oh, I can already feel the nostalgia. All those horrible days stuck in a classroom are starting to feel like grand memories indeed.
I'm starting to wonder if we'll even be able to graduate at all.
What's wrong with you? Why do you have to go and say something like that when I'm trying to reminisce about positive things? Stop interrupting my whimsy, Joshua!
Alright, that's enough jabbering, you two. This is supposed to be a test, so how about the both of you try to at least look a little anxious? Just so you know, though, if you do happen to flunk the test, you don't even want to imagine the kind of homework I have in store for the both of you.
We'll be fine. Just tell us what you want us to do and let us loose.
Well, if you are so confident, then how about proving you're not just blowing hot air with the results of your test? Anyways, you both saw on the bulletin board, this test will be a search conducted in Roland sewers. Your objective is to retrieve the contents of a chest which has been placed somewhere within that area. The layout of the sewers is extremely simple, so you don't need to worry about getting lost either. However, there are real, living, breathing monsters down there, so if you get careless and let your guard down, you will be sorry. Also, let me give you this before I forget. Receive Tier Bomb ×3. Receive Monster Guide.
What's this book for?
It's
called a monster guide, and it's used to record information about the monsters and other opponents you meet. Whenever you figure out an enemy's attributes, you should make an immediate note of it in there. Sounds pretty straightforward to me. He who controls the flow of information controls the tide of battle, right? That's exactly what I'm saying. You've got a good head on your shoulders, Joshua. That's some pretty useful advice. Thanks for the tip, Shara. We'll put it to good use. Alrighty then, let's get pumped and knock out this test. Let's. Don't forget though, this is an exam. We should make sure we treat it as such. We'll go for a bit. There appears to be a recovery point set up over there. Let's use the different HP and EP become low before engaging in any further battles. Urban charging stations are recovery points set up in dangerous areas. As a recovery point is approached, an exclamation mark will appear and 2 choices will be displayed by pressing the OK button. By selecting the rest option, all HP and EP will be restored. Sounds like a plan to me. Alright, so, with that long part, we're going to be cutting the part, and we will be getting into our first battles and finishing our test next time on The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. My name is Marie, thank you for stopping by my gaming corner. I'll see you next time. Bye!